Welcome for 15 of you. Welcome 15 of you. It is currently Saturday night here in New York, 7:16 p.m. I am unloading the dishwasher. I need to cook myself some dinner. Running a little bit late tonight because I've been out all day with a old new friend of sorts. We'll explain that later. And I'm developing a yearning for tomato sauce. And so we're gonna make some homemade tomato sauce. I might make some lentils with some broccoli stems too, just to get my veggies and a little bit of protein in here. Or I might just go the easy way and cook my very frostbitten dumplings. And hello everyone, hello Wyoming. Who else said hi? Long Island, what up Long Island, and Sydney, and Hawaii, what up, what up, what up? Is the part of Long Island that you're in like Major Trump County? What up, UK? I feel like Long Island is very Trumpy. 2 UKs. Okay. Canada. 50-50. Hi, Florida. Okay. Cool beans. So bear with me and we'll get cooking. I am very hungry, so I do need to eat something fast. I do feel the hangriness coming on pretty strong. But I also need this dishwasher clear so I can add more shit to it later. Let me actually pull up your comments so I can see what everyone's saying. New Zealand. I wanted to show off this new bowl that I got from the Salvation Army. I got it for $1 plus tax. It's not very fancy, it's just Today's Home. I don't know what generic brand that is. It's made in China, but it has these like very, almost like Rothko stripes, but a little bit more collegiate and preppy than Rothko. But I really like the shape of it. In case you haven't noticed, I have a thing for shallow bowls. I like my people deep and my bowls shallow. So I like shallow bowls, shallow bowls, shallow bowls. There's more that I could put out, but I'm not gonna because I'm tired and I want to eat. So it's nice to see some of you that I haven't seen in a while, like Eliza, what up? Haven't seen you in a while. Probably because I've been going live at very odd hours lately. Hi, Oregon Coast. What up, London? What is inside here? Oh, we're gonna have to rewash that. No, thank you. Okay. My counter is full of spices. There's a lot of launches coming for Burlap and Barrel in March, so do not look very closely. You're not supposed to know what spices are here. But I just have no place to put them. I'm actually very proud of myself because I actually got off my lazy, depressed ass yesterday and I vacuumed and mopped and scrubbed my bathtub just in time for my period to come and dirty it up again. But, you know, did my adult thing and hopefully will make myself feel better about not being a complete slob for at least 4 days. We know how that cycle goes. I did not soak any lentils in preparation because I did not prepare to cook today. But as I was on the subway coming home, I just thought I really want tomato sauce and I really want to eat my broccoli that I washed yesterday. So we're going to do that. And look at this thing that I thrifted from the Salvation Army. Aaron was actually video chatting me at the time because he wants me to look out for a ceramic soap dish with holes perforated on the bottom and a big ramen soup bowl, which I have not found. But when we were video chatting, I was like, dude, look what I found. And if you know anything about Aaron, you know that he's a huge Bills fan. So hopefully this will make it to him unbroken in one piece. I'll try to put it in a very safe spot, but no promises. No promises. Glad to hear you like the cumin and coriander. That shit is good. That's a special coriander, by the way. And it's limited because I don't know if we're going to get more of that coriander in. So it's only going to be in that blend. I thought to myself on the subway today, I was like, if I really just wanted to eat something, I could just eat cereal and cheese and fruit. I have a lot of those, but I was also thinking about the fact that sometimes food is more about just satiating your physical hunger and more about kind of satiating your desires. And for whatever reason, I just really desire some nice tomato sauce. I don't know if I even want pasta, but I just want tomato sauce right now. So we're gonna try to make that happen. All right. Okay. Take a look. Yes, the royal cinnamon is absolutely amazing. If you are a big fan of cinnamon, I really recommend just going for the bulk container, which is a whole pound of cinnamon. Probably the best cinnamon I've had in my life. I thought that Spice House had really good cinnamon too, but after a year of both Burlap and Barrel and Spice House cinnamons in my cabinet, in my pantry, Burlap and Barrel's flavor preservation wins out for sure. When I just opened the Spice House ones, they were amazing, and there were 3 varieties, and you could taste the difference between all 3, but like, as long as we're talking about longevity, this one keeps very well. I think it just speaks to the fact that like, Burlap and Barrel has fresh stock always. We purchase things as they come into harvest, and so it's really the freshest spices you're gonna get. So yeah, if you like fresh spices, I will recommend. I'm very happy that when I do casual shilling out like this, it is for a brand that I like and believe in. And I'm very happy that there are businesses that can still run like this. They are becoming fewer and fewer though, because in case you haven't heard, Trader Joe's is trying to basically eliminate the National Labor Relations Board's power. Because if you haven't heard, their workers are trying to unionize, and they're like, fuck no. And instead of just union busting, they're trying to like lobby against the NLRB or some shit like that. I don't even remember what's going on, but it's pretty outrageous. So you should be aware of that, but I did just go to Trader Joe's today and buy snacks and cheese because I would like to have a little bit of joy in my life. I only spent $10.46. I don't know if that matters. I had a first date a couple of weeks ago, and we ended up going to McDonald's because the date started in H Mart, and then H Mart closed, and then we were like, okay, it's really cold outside and we don't we don't know where to go. So there was a McDonald's that was still open, and so we went into the McDonald's, and I had the first chicken McNugget for the first time in maybe over a decade, and I thought, oh, let me take a photo of this. And then I posted it on Instagram in a carousel of 10 pictures, and currently the top liked comment on that post is, boycott all Israeli products, boycott McDonald's, all in caps. And I even liked that comment because I have nothing against people saying things like that on my post. Go for it. But it is kind of like bringing me to think about how when we boycott, the maximum amount of effect is when you target one or two brands at once, so they really feel the impact. And the thing about McDonald's is that, like, it's a franchise, and when you boycott across the board, first of all, there's a lot of, like, bad practices that McDonald's engages in, and I'm not excusing my eating McNuggets to say you shouldn't boycott McDonald's. By all means, boycott it, because bad labor practices, bad ingredients, bad animal rights, all of it, right? And but I think just because branches of McDonald's decided to donate meals to the IOF does not mean that, like, boycotting all of McDonald's has a moral foundation to it as regards to Palestine, because it's a franchise. Like, it's not really like McDonald's stepping out to say we support IDF. In whatever case, I'm just thinking all this through, right? Like, as we move forward, we can boycott all the things. The thing is it effective? Is constantly going to be a question that I'm asking. Okay, tomato sauce. I bought some tomato sauce when I was still in a relationship. I would like to use this up so I don't have to think about it. But no, I also want to use it because I want to eat it. So we're going to cut up an onion, we're going to cut up some garlic, we're going to use some spices, and we're going to make ourselves a nice tomato sauce. I'm going to cut up more garlic and onion for my lentils, and we'll just cook and we'll eat. Yes, I'm still dealing with my breakup, so you'll probably hear me bitch about that a little bit, just organically. It'll happen. I'm warning you. If you don't want to hear a sad, depressed bitch moan about how she doesn't know how to love anyone, then maybe don't watch this live. I bought this cheese that I saw at Trader Joe's. We can taste it later, but I'm gonna fridge it a little bit because it's quite soft for my commute. Yeah, I'm starting to think maybe all the OG spleenies like this evening time for streams. Is that the case? I feel like that might be the case. We're gonna drink some ginger water because preemptive period cramps relief, very effective. Depending on how energetic I feel, I might also want to cook down some apples, but IDK, maybe that's doing too much today. Spicy. OG Spleenies is a name that we decided to call all the fans from my early live stream days when people knew me mostly from Budget Eats. We chose that name because in one episode of Budget Eats, I cooked spleen, which was very divisive. People found it kind of gross. Cream flavored sunflower seeds. Sounds amazing. Okay. A little bit of olive oil is going to go in here first. And then we'll commence the chop. How's everyone's week been? Tell me everything. Or you can talk about shroom trips. That's cool too. I like hearing about it. Oh man, phone and water. Unfortunate. Deeply unfortunate. So sorry to hear that. We're not going to go too crazy on the top here. Just the coarse dice is great. We're going to turn on the heat now that I have the cutting going. Cool. Wearing your keffiyeh indoors? That's a move. None of us are okay, and that's why we're all here. I'm glad to be the Lady Liberty of all of the mental illnesses in the world, y'all. It's my truest honor to be here as the patron saint failure of all the broken psyches who still, despite it all, choose to embrace. Not on my freshly, newly cleaned mop floors. I hope you don't feel too bad about that musician not really giving you the time of day. Sometimes it'd be like that. Sometimes they're just assholes and sometimes they're just people who are tired, but it is disappointing, I know. Might not be personal though, is all I'm saying. That was like a solid quarter cup of garlic. I'm going to add a little bit of sugar so that it helps the onions caramelize a little bit. And then we'll add in some black pepper, a little bit of salt. I'm also going to add in a little bit of my porcelain garlic, which is a discontinued spice, and I've given it to like 3 friends already. I'm happy to share the abundance of generosity and wealth. And personally, I don't really love powdered garlic, but this one just smells so good. So dang good. That's a wet spoon. We don't want that in there. Oh, no. I'll go in with a little bit of wild ramps. And let's see what else we can play with here. Oh, yes. Let's add some tomato powder for extra tomato-ness. And a little bit of bay leaf powder. Rosemary and thyme. Oh my god. That was way... Did you see that? I forgot this doesn't have a lid to it. Alright, let's try to rescue some of that out. I guess we'll be eating a lot of rosemary. in the next week. Super rosemary sauce, here we go. Can somebody look up what the medicinal effects of rosemary is? Because we're about to get it. Oh yeah. Well, the thing about whole bay leaf is you can fish it out. You can't fish out the powdered bay leaf, you know. So it's just kind of in there. I actually don't really know what the fuss is with bay leaf. I never understood people who like bay leaf. I never really quite understood what it provided dishes for the most part. So I'm okay with it either way. I think it adds a slight floralness. Maybe even a little bit of soapiness, possibly. I was supposed to take out some of the onion and garlic to put into my lentils, but I totally forgot to do that. So we're going to do a slapdash lentil, it seems. Nothing is going according to plan, which is fine. I'm okay with it. Okay, rosemary sounds great. No complaints. Thank you, Google. Thank you, GIH, for Googling. I honestly don't think a tablespoon or two of rosemary will kill us. So let's not worry about it. The amount of shit that I put into my body that is far worse is far worse. Okay. I'm going to put some water on boil and try to extract the leftover ginger flavors to make our lentils with as I prep the rest of the ingredients. So first we're going to soak some lentils. And by soak, I just mean rinse, because there's no time to really soak it anymore. Then I'm going to cut up my remaining onion and maybe more garlic. Give that tomato sauce a stir so that it's not burning completely. I might eat some Trader Joe's crunchies in the meantime, guys. I'm so hungry. Sauce is already making a mess on my stove. That is possibly the worst part about making sauce of any kind, is how much splatter goes onto your counters. No, what are the pamphlets being handed out in Berlin? Oh, shit. Okay, yeah. Okay, more fake news. To be expected. I mean, I think it's really calling on all of us to actually do our own research. And if we can't, then we can't. And we'll just believe in the fake news, and the world will be more of the world until it isn't anymore. Which, honestly, I'm fine with. More or less is going to be the same thing over time. I don't think I want all of these onions in my lentils, but maybe I do. Maybe I do. Let's just do it. Hi, Jersey. What I do really want to use up in this batch of lentils is actually my Better Than Bouillon beef stock. I don't want it lingering anymore, honestly. So we'll use this as salt. Maybe add more to it. I'm going to use some black salt in the lentils as well. And we'll go in with a little bit of smoked paprika. little bit of sweet paprika. A little bit of turmeric. And I think I'm going to add in 3 powdered garlics instead of fresh because I'm lazy and I don't want to do it no more. But I actually can't find my black garlic right now. So we'll do 2 garlics, 1 onion. Some tomato powder in our lentils too. I guess I'm just in a tomato mood. Go in with some rosemary, why not? I'm actually going to add a little bit of dulse into our tomato sauce. I don't know what it's going to taste like, but the deed is done. Cumin powder into our lentils. Don't know if I have a single favorite vegetable, but my go-tos are definitely like broccoli, cauliflower, carrots, you know, the huge. I've been falling in love with farmers market greens like collard and baby kale and all of that. I don't know what you can add dulse to. I'm still figuring that out myself, to be honest with you. But anything you want a little bit of seaweedy flavor, oceany flavor. Ethan gave me a sample of celery leaf that we might be trying to source or play with, so I'm gonna add a little bit in here. Yum. Okay. Smells good. I've had this beef bouillon since like delish days, so it's time. I also really like parsnip if we're counting all veggies. Do we count sweet potato as a veggie? Like Japanese sweet potato. That rosemary is so strong in this tomato sauce. Holy cow. I'm going to toss these broccoli stems into that pot of ginger. No, that's a bad idea. Is that a bad idea? Yeah, it's a bad idea. Okay, we're gonna microwave it instead. I'm glad I had a moment of reflection for that. And we will use our brand new bowl. Time to check my phone. Okay, so about my day today, in case you guys were interested in hearing about it. Not sure if you are, but it's my stream. I went to the Met Museum for the first time in a long time with a hinge match that I originally matched with just moving the camera away from the heat because it's gonna wreck the phone. Maybe last year this time, almost a year now. And when I went back on Hinge this time, I ended up rematching 3 of the people that I matched with last time, 2 of which I had already gone on a date with and expressed no interest romantically in. This one, I think we just became kind of almost like cheeky pen pals, but also dropped off. And we finally met up in real life, and we went to the Met Museum. And this was like not a date, this was just platonic hang, because that's our dynamic now. And it was very interesting because towards the end we were talking about relationships and how we view our opinions of romantic relationships, and like maybe sort of our resignation and hopelessness and acceptance of that resignation, of how maybe we're just not meant for romantic relationships, how, you know, there's like a sweet spot of distance between 2 people, and once you go into that romantic dynamic, it brings it so close together that it releases toxicity in a way that doesn't seem to come out in platonic relationships at all. So I'm gonna keep thinking about this. Obviously I'm not like, that's not true. I was gonna say I'm not losing all hope, but I am kind of losing hope a little bit. And so what I wanted to ask you all was, how many failed relationships do you think would qualify a person to think deeply about whether or not they should give up on having a romantic relationship fulfilled? That's what I'm thinking about. I don't know, you tell me. You tell me what qualifies as a relationship. You tell me how long you think it should be. I'm curious what you guys think. Alright, I'm turning the tomato sauce off. I don't like to cook my tomato sauces too long. Definitely also just burned myself on the edge of that pan. Took you a total of 3 long-term relationships. How do we define long-term relationship? It's the number of failed relationships and a good solid attempt at self-reflection, yeah. Longer than a month could be a relationship. Okay. I don't know why it took me so long, but we're gonna put some burn cream on my burn. Do you see it? It's a thin red line right here. First thing we're gonna do is taste this cheese. Chiave d'oro. Whatever that means. Something gold. Very immature smell. It's only been aged 6 months according to the packaging. Raw milk, hard cheese. I don't think it's hard though. It's a lot softer than cheddar. Not bad. I like it. Delicious. Approved. Yes, growing together or apart, communication is key. What I'm finding out though is that communication, honesty, transparency, all those things mean different things to different people. How far you've gotten with yourself can determine the kind of person you choose to be with at different stages of life. All of that adds to the success or failure of a relationship. Yeah. Communication is not key. Comprehension is key. I very much agree with that. At this stage of my life, yes, absolutely. Can you say more about what it means to temper the way one communicates to the other person? Would love to learn more about that. All right, I think our lentils are getting nice and mushy too. Understanding who the person really is and choosing to accept or not. Yes, very true. Very true. Like, I don't think I ever got to the stage where I understood the other person, though, in my latest endeavor. And that, I think that is maybe what's making me the most sad out of all of this, is I felt like I was just starting to get to know him. And I wish I had more chance to, but I think maybe he decided that who I was not who he wanted to be with. And so there is no fixing that, obviously. If I showed more of myself and that was not what he wanted, then that was not what he wanted. We're gonna eat out of a tiny bowl today because I feel like it. Taking some of my broccoli stems. And we're gonna have multiple courses with these broccoli stems. And I actually think because both the sauce and the lentils are very hot, I'm gonna use 2 bowls so that they start cooling faster, so I can eat them faster. So first dollop is with lentils over the broccoli. We're gonna get so farty tonight, y'all. With all these onions. And on top of the pasta one, I think I'm going to cut a little bit of yogurt cheese and let it melt underneath the sauce, between the broccoli and the sauce. Because there is nothing better than cheesy tomato sauce, in my opinion. So. June, you focus a lot on how you aren't what other people want. Yes, I agree. Should I stop doing that? What can I do instead? I appreciate you pointing it out. It doesn't hurt me. I think it's true. I think it stems from low self-esteem in a certain way. I think I'm very confident in myself, but I don't think I have a lot of self-esteem. I think those two things are different, actually. I think I've dealt with a sense of rejection for a lot of my life, especially as an immigrant kid. It feels like naturally, yeah, it makes sense that I'm rejected, you know? It makes total sense to me that other people won't be able to understand or accept me. I hate that that's the case, but it makes sense to me that that is the case. Does that make sense? Learning the methods they communicate to better converse with them. Yeah, I was trying to, but I think I wasn't patient enough for my last relationship. I think I dealt with too much anxiety and uncertainty. any edited videos, even of one, but I would like to eventually, if I ever feel like the world is, I don't know anymore, guys. Truly don't. My videos probably don't pop up for a lot of folks, especially after I started going pretty hard on Palestine. I don't think you've missed out on much though. I haven't done an edited video in like half a year, at least. Alright, we're going to take our food and we're going to migrate over here. And I'm going to shuffle my random shit around. And we're gonna settle and eat and relax and chat. Yeah, I'm learning the merit of patience. I regret pushing for things to be answered faster than they could have been, I guess. I don't know. Maybe this is part of my learning journey too. I don't know anymore. I think I'm still in a bit of exhaustion, trying to synthesize my learnings in a way, and God, it's so exhausting. Like I think I really have literally cried every day for over a month now. And for the past 3 days, I've just been so stale. Stale is the best way I can put it. Seeking other, okay, Cherry, I actually have a follow-up question. So Cherry says, June, I can only suggest what has been the most effective for me, seeking other ways to fulfill certain emotional, psychological needs other than through romantic partners. Easy to say, of course, and takes a long ass time. My question for you guys is, what do you seek to get from a romantic relationship? Because I seek to get that psychological and emotional closeness from a romantic relationship. I can get it from my friendships, of course. But I think one of my main objectives is ultimately to get that closeness. Because for me, especially as someone who identifies more asexually, the romance, the fairy tale of it all, the falling in love, the physical touch, the physical intimacy, the sex, like the desire for the other person, the sexual desire for the other person, and the romantic desire for the other person hinges pretty critically on this emotional, psychological bond. And so when I think I feel the gap in that bond happening, that closeness of psychology and emotional connection disappearing or not present, I disengage. Like, I mentally disengage, and then with the mentality, I think I start to disengage in all other formats. So my question to you all is, what do you seek in a romantic partnership? What is your priority for engaging in a romantic partnership? Because I feel like to define the objective of being in a romantic partnership is very important right now, right? Because if I'm not getting that emotional and psychological intimacy, then I might as well not be in one, is the way that I've been thinking about it. I want to be known and understood, and I also want to understand and know the other person. That to me is the foundation of emotional and psychological intimacy and connection. Um, so I don't disagree with that at all. I completely agree with that being an objective for me in a romantic relationship. Being a witness, someone to commit to seeing and witnessing life together. Interesting. People that have nothing to do with each other actively choosing to share our experiences with each other. Yeah. What kind of experiences though? You know, for me, like, am I asking for too much when I want to know your mental experiences as well? I'm not sure. That's a question I'm trying to answer right now. A best friend that I can tell anything to. JM, yes. Physical intimacy seems very, maybe it's because I'm dating straight men. I don't know actually, because I've never not dated straight men. Like I've gone on dates with women, but I don't think I'm either giving them enough chance or developing attraction organically to them. Maybe I'm trying to force the gayness into the picture where there is no forcing such gayness, you know? Hey Naz, what's up? I was talking with someone on Hinge yesterday about how, like, I want a partner who isn't afraid of me, who isn't afraid of pushing back against my ideas, who isn't afraid of pushing back against the things that I say. I think I tend to say things in a very blunt and confident way that they think they can't challenge me, or that I'll be pissed if they challenge me, which, you know, historically I have gotten pissed if you challenge me, but I don't think being pissed is a bad thing. I just do feel like people interpret me exhibiting pissedness to be negative and not something they want to deal with. I feel like straight men love to experience this thing called peace, which I don't think I want in that degree of peace. Like, obviously I want peace in a relationship, but I don't want to prioritize this piece above everything else. I want this piece to come as a product, as an end result of having small conflicts, not major ones, not abusive ones, not violent ones, but I want it to come from a place of disconnect and disagreement, and to work mutually and creatively into agreement and into peace. And even if we can't work towards complete agreement, at least we can have this security and comfort and safety in place where we can talk to each other about our disagreements. I Am Joy says, you have quite the list of what you want. Folks are individuals. To expect things in a relationship is one-sided. Yes. Right. So that's what I'm figuring out. Should I not go into a relationship expecting anything? And I don't know how you interpreted the tone of my voice. I've become increasingly self-conscious and critical of my tone of voice. So when I just said, Should I not go into a relationship with expectations? Like, I don't know if my tone came off as rude, because I feel like in past instances people have pointed out my tone as problematic for them to absorb in a peaceful way. But I'm truly genuinely asking, like, should I not approach a romantic relationship with expectations? Should I just be open to the offerings of the universe? I don't know. Exactly. Being pissed does not mean you don't want to be with someone. Right. You have to be tolerant of other folks' expectations, I am Joy says. I want to. And I think I wanted to know what the other person was expecting of me. And maybe I wasn't a good enough listener, but I felt like I wasn't given enough clarity or instruction or direction to go in. And I think it just started to fall apart when I became increasingly anxious about understanding what the other person wanted out of the relationship and what the other person expected out of me. And I felt like overwhelmingly I was met with like non-answers or silence, and it just felt like they were kind of afraid of me almost to engage with me. Hey Ashley, it's been a long time since I've seen you in the chat. Welcome. Sometimes, Ashley says, it's unnecessary conflict that one may want to avoid. From my experience, when I push back on what someone says and they get defensive, I usually just stop pushing back. Yeah. And Daisuke has been advising me the same. You know, he says he just doesn't fight with his wife because logic doesn't really work in a lot of relationship dynamics. And so you can't use logic to like convince the other person or win the argument or whatever. So I'm learning that. I'm learning. It's a different mode of being. It's a different mode of existing. I don't think I've ever existed in this way before. I'm learning something new at 34. It's very overwhelming and almost intimidating, and it's like really exhausting right now to try to reflect on this in the middle of like still emotionally processing. Kimberly says, my oldest son, 26, has similar beliefs and strong opinions on everything as you. While debating with him, I can go so far, and then it feels like until I agree to his side, I'm wrong. It can be tiring. Yeah. Aaron has given me feedback that is my MO. But I think maybe that's just because my sense of self feels like it's being attacked. So that's something that I have to work on, I think. So thank you for pointing that out, and thank you for sharing your experience with your son, because I can definitely identify with him, and I wonder if your son feels the same way as I do, that when you guys get into debates, if he's feeling like you're almost attacking his sense of identity and self. I'm gonna refill my lentils. It's pretty good. Okay, I'm ready for the huge question, I am Joy. Oh, I answered the question. What was the question? What was the question? The retroactive question. The lentils. I like them. They're not too salty this time. I think they could have been more strongly flavored. I love the slices of onions. They're like slightly sweet, slightly spicy. I could have improved on a lot of things in that relationship, but I think ultimately it came down to the fact that I constantly asked for feedback about how the other person felt about me and my behaviors. And that asking too much was what broke the relationship for him. And he was not really comfortable giving me feedback directly about what my behaviors did to him. And so I felt like I was always doing something wrong, and I didn't know how to do the right thing. The rosemary level is not too bad in the lentils, but let's see for the sauce. Be as confident in yourself as you are in the statement on the lentils. Yeah. I learned that now because I think as I move towards processing, you know, the fall, the collapse of this relationship, I'm also starting to talk with myself about, like, who do I want to be? It's always been a question, you know, when I'm single, when I'm in a relationship, when I'm dating, it's always that question of who do I want to be? And I think when I choose a partner to be with, I'm also choosing a role model of sorts. Aaron says this is not true for him. Aaron says he just wants to be with someone that he can really, really get along with and share similar interests and have fun with and, like, eat a lot of things with, which is exactly what we did. But for me now, as a 34-year-old, I want to be with someone that I have admiration for, that I want to become more like. Because I think who you spend time around is who you become, right? You just absorb everyone. And so I want to pick people who have traits that I want to absorb. I want them to influence me. And I hope the same for them. I hope that they appreciate me in a way that they wouldn't not mind becoming more like me. I think that's my ideal. Edamame and jasmine tea sounds so classy. Clean and classy. Note, arguing can be foreplay for some. Look into that to see if that spark of anger conflict plays a role in... Yeah, not everyone gets off on that though, you know. Maybe I do. Maybe I feel like if you can withstand this argumentative dynamic and this safety of security in self to be able to debate with someone else that you have admiration and love for, that signals to me you're not afraid of me, you're not afraid to challenge me, you're actually willing to engage with me as an equal of sorts, and that you don't think that this relationship will fail or break just because we disagree on something, and that you are curious enough intellectually and philosophically and emotionally and psychologically, and you're curious about not only the world but about yourself, to be able to debate with me on these things. And I like conflict, not because I want to fight the other person. I like conflict because that's where thoughts become philosophies, and that's when things make sense for me in the world, is through this back and forth of, well, this, no, but this. But have you thought about that? But what about this? No, I don't agree because I think this, and I don't agree because I think this. Well, where do you think the middle ground is? Like that does arouse me. Like, not sexually, but it arouses me in a way that, like, it makes me form trust in the other person, and it shows me their brain. It shows me that most intimate part of selfhood, which for me is locked in the brain. But Daisuke has also pointed out to me that, like, you know, especially autistic folks, like, they tend to hone in on the brain, and they tend to cling to logic, and they want to make everything make sense. But, like, sometimes things don't make sense, and especially in romantic relationships, things don't make sense. But there is a baseline that I want to seek in a romantic relationship where I do have this space and a mutual desire between the two of us to, like, argue about things. Not in that American interpretation and definition of argue, but in almost Chinese way of arguing. You know, like, thinking back to the relationship I had with my mom, we had so many disagreements, but at the end of the day, I am fucking grieving for her, And I'm sure she's really sad to have died that early and to leave me behind. And I know, based on the pain, that I loved her. And I think I still do, and I still miss her. And I think that it's really amazing because it's been, what's the day? The 24th the 24th. So it's been over a month now since the breakup. And the fact, I was just thinking about this today, like the fact that I've been crying every day about the breakup means that it really touched me and changed me, you know? Like it showed me a part of myself that I wasn't previously aware of. And I think self-awareness and awareness about all sorts of things is painful. And I'm so grateful to be able to feel things, because I think feeling things is so much of being alive, even though sometimes it really fucking sucks to feel this way. I am nonetheless feeling it. And so when I think about how Mom was telling me, you know, this all is part of living, like this is all an experience of life, that I live, I won't generalize, I live for the absolute value of things. Which is to say that there are so much positive things that can happen in life, and there are so many quote-unquote negative things that can happen in life. But the absolute value of both the positive and the negative events are in the end positive, because those are all experiences. It's the baseline of how far you are from this zero neutrality of not feeling. So the deeper I feel things, yeah, they could momentarily break me. They could even permanently break me. I haven't gotten to that point yet. And so it's like life is a series of stress testing myself, and maybe others too. And I guess people who don't want to be stress tested should not be my partner. So it's pretty amazing. Time is such an important ingredient. I'm learning how to be more patient because I have no choice sometimes. It's a skill. Patience is a skill. I haven't had to practice it before this much, but whew. Thank you for letting me get all of that out. I'm reading her comments and taking a break. Yes, Cherry says, June, something that can be helpful to keep in mind is that each person in the relationship is learning and gaining experience through every date, interaction, and breakup. Do you feel people can admire you? Would you admire you? Yeah, I would admire me, but I would also be fucking tired of being around me. So I see it. I can be very exhausting to be around. And the problem right now is I don't know how to not exhaust myself and others, because this is just like the way that I function. So I'm trying to figure that out, you know? Like, I understand my forte, and I understand my imperfections and my weaknesses and the ways in which I can negatively impact others. But, you know, like, there is a cost to being with everyone. So it's just dependent on the two people to decide how much they're both willing to so-called pay emotionally in a relationship. And I think, unfortunately, my most recent partner was not willing to pay the toll of being in a relationship with me, and it's still taking me a lot of time to absorb that, to be able to swallow that, and to be able to say, okay, I was too much for that relationship. Do I want to change this too much for myself? How do I change this too much for myself? Do I want to be in a relationship where they can only handle me when I'm peaceful? And just all sorts of follow-up questions that have precipitated from this relationship disintegrating. So I'm still thinking. It's only been a month. And I think the amount of things that I've been able to synthesize is pretty cool, pretty painful, really exhausting. I know that I've said that a lot. I've been burning out on what seems to be useless actions for Palestine that impacted my relationship too. We can't discredit the amount of stress we absorb from all aspects of life that flood into our personal lives. Um, the amount of relationships that broke down during COVID, the amount of relationships that break down during disagreements about values and politics, the amount of relationships that break down because some of us just can't seem to process all the shit that this world goes through constantly. And nonetheless, we persist, right? There's that cute little meme of a hamster in a hot pink car saying the horror persists, but so do I. I'm sensing a stomach ache coming on. There's a tightness underneath my left rib cage, and it's spreading to my left abdominal and going into my pelvic area. So I'm going to take a breath, I'm going to finish eating some things, and I'm going to read your comments, but it feels good to be getting all of this out. So yeah, thank you again, I guess, for being my one-sided audience in this parasocial relationship, and also to keep giving me your feedback and perspectives, because I have learned so much from all of you. Are you in conflict with how you were taught relationships should be? Yes. I don't know exactly how, but yes, definitely in conflict. Thank you for all the hugs, you guys. How cute is this? You guys, so fucking adorable. Ashley says, I have autism, and when I ask for logic, people have a trauma response and get upset. I avoid arguments so hard, but some people perceive you as causing an argument. Yes. Yes. I feel that so much. So much. And that's why Daisuke has been, he's autistic too, and he's been recommending that I step away from logic, that I just don't engage in argument, especially if I want to stay in that relationship. And again, it's all about priorities, right? So it's up for me to decide, do I want to be in a relationship more, or do I want to prioritize my logic? And sometimes logic won't get me very far, because sometimes Daisuke says that, like, you know, the more you beg for an answer, the more apparent, like, there's no answer sometimes. Like, you don't get very far, and you are triggering people's trauma responses. So, like, you're pressing on all of their landmines. It's a minefield, and you're stepping on all their landmines, all the shit that they've repressed, either consciously or unconsciously, and it, like, hurts them. And so it makes them want to back away from you. I understand that cognitively now. I don't understand how to put it into practice without feeling like I'm suppressing myself, because repressing myself feels awful. It feels like I'm betraying myself in a lot of ways, but this also merges into this line of thinking of, like, the self. Maybe I put too much value on the self. Maybe I'm too egocentric. Maybe I'm too self-centered in my worldview. So how do I let go of the self so that I can let go of the answer, so that I can let go of the logic, and so I can let go of asking endless questions? And so I can find this sort of existence where answers are not necessary. It's a choice. It's a practice, and it's in development. So all of those things. Yes, I would love to hear your alternative way of thinking about stress testing. The Teaches of Peaches? Where is she? She hasn't released a fucking song in so long. Lando says, well, yes, it's something like you said you can push you over, but at the same time, your threshold rises each time you are stress tested. Old peaks become new plateaus. Interesting. So you're saying don't stress test because you're gonna keep it's addictive. It's a cycle of addiction to stress testing how far you can go so that it becomes toxic in a relationship. Is that what you're saying? I just want to clarify, understand. Um, June, I've been married for 27 years. I'm still learning how to make it work. I would love to say it gets easier, but it is always working on yourself or the other person. Lando says, that is the duality of the situation. One can look at it like it's a deluge dragging you under or a rising tide lifting your proverbial boat. Poetry. Um, Thank you for relating, JM. And again, I think a lot of this is like feeling like you're crazy on your own, and then to hear other people say they've gone through the same things and the same thoughts and the same conflict and the same friction is not only comforting but also like assuring me that this sort of thing is so universal, and ultimately I'll just either find a person who understands me and can work together to understand me more, and I can work together to understand them more, or I don't, right? Luck of the draw. My son is so overthinking on everything, makes me so exhausting to be around him. That is a symptom, though. I think I overthink because I ultimately have a lot of conflict with how the world works. It works illogically, and I'm logic based. And so I'm constantly questioning everything. So, I think finding security is a life mission for most of us. It's a life project for most of us. Security not only in ourselves, but in the world as well, in a world that makes no sense, right? It's a hard task to do. Maybe, I don't know. I can't tell you how to parent, but I feel it. I can identify with your son. You're having a hot flash. Well, I don't know what a hot flash feels like, but I've heard not pleasant. Lando says that is part of embracing the chaos of the situation, losing that logic and going with the illogicality of the situation. JM says, I'm okay with being logical and sacrificing romantic partnership if need be. Yeah, so it's all ultimately a personal choice, we all make our choices. All right. Shall we dig into this sauce? Let's see if we can still get a cheese pull. Maybe not. Oh, maybe a little. Maybe a little cheese pull. Aaron's living on his own with Fred. We've broken up since 2021. Sometimes there is no answer, absolutely. Oh yeah, and that stress testing is not necessarily a bad thing. There's just a positive way of thinking about it. I think of stress testing as a way of forming bonds, a way of like understanding the other person better. I think it's also a way that I use to challenge the other person's tolerance for new thoughts, new perspectives, How comfortable are they in their own self and worldview to be able to hear my maybe different self view and worldview? And it's a interesting curiosity that I have to see how they offer back their beliefs to me. I think I want to have a conversation, and maybe this is something that I need to practice saying as a preface to my stress tests, more literally and bluntly as I do all my other direct communications, that hey, I'm trying to see your worldview. Are you willing to debate me on this topic? before I just launch into my side of things. I think there are a lot of moments in that relationship where I acted upon feeling triggered around my own identity because they, you know, told me to chill or whatever. And oh my god, guys. Telling someone to chill. But anyway. KCS says, I'm listening to Michael Singer on YouTube. He speaks about how our preferences causes all our problems. There's a lot of truth in that. The more preferences let go of, the happier and clearer I am. Yeah, see, I'm learning from you guys the ways to say things, right? Like, can I share my opinion with you? Does your need for a partner have anything to do with Aaron's search for a partner? No, it doesn't. I'm perfectly happy that he finds people to date and people to be in a relationship with. It has nothing to do with my search for a partner. I think I feel very secure in my friendship with him. I don't think either one of us really wants to get back together romantically. It just didn't work, and we're able to be honest about that and able to be honest about dissecting what didn't work. I find that it is just as important in a relationship to know how to fight well together as it is to have compatibility during the amicable times. Yep. I'm learning that. I definitely do need someone who knows how to fight well with me, kindly with me, understandingly with me. And fighting with curiosity, I think, is something that I haven't thought about before, but it feels true to me. It feels on the dot for me right now as I'm saying it. I want someone who fights with curiosity with me. Main man and main woman in the chat. Look at this, y'all. I love it. I like telling my husband, can we put a pin in this until I can see your side of thing? Because in this moment, I can't. I also would like my partner to give me like a estimate of time or date of when we can come back to it. Because I've been told I don't have an answer for you right now. But then it seems to me like we would never come back to it. And it triggers my impatience for a lot of my insecurity too. But I think it would have helped for me to know, like, hey, we are going to return to this, and here's an estimate of the time. I've been getting into attachment theory and learning about it. I can't watch Love on the Spectrum. I tried twice to finish episode 1. I think it infantilizes them extremely, and I don't want that. The music is horrible. The narration is horrible. I just hate it. Sorry. Wow, your parents never fought about a single thing, but do you think they agreed with each other on everything, or they were just passive-aggressively hiding it? Yeah, Amy, I'm a one-stop shop, girl. I Am Joy asks, how does it make you feel when we say you are okay? Do you want to fight me on that, or would you like to agree with me? Like, I am okay as a person, doing all the things that I do, both the perceived shitty things and the interesting, strange, quirky things that I do. I would like to agree with you that I am okay, but I do have my moments where I'm like, oh, I feel like a shit person. Although I feel like that itself is normal, right? again, I think I have self-confidence, but I think my self-esteem might need some working on. I didn't think it needed working on until this relationship happened, but now I understand that there is something missing there. So there you go. This relationship taught me a weakness and a blind spot that I had not previously understood and grasped, you know? And yeah, Lando says, my parents are Brazilian. Arguments were quite passionate. That kind of stress testing was common and frequent. This also comes down to culture, upbringing, right? It goes right into attachment theory and styles. What you experienced as a kid, what was normalized for you as a kid, determines how much you can tolerate as an adult, unless you've done self-work to like really gauge how far you can stray from the formula that you've absorbed organically from observing your environment growing up. It's interesting how much kids absorb. You know, like communication was not modeled for us well. A lot of us were not modeled how to communicate well. It's hard, y'all. It's hard. Well, I'll just continue to learn though, right? No, Fred. And I'm sure there were a lot more to it that caused the breakup, but I'm also not sure if I'm ever going to really find out all the reasons. But let's just say there were enough that I already am aware of. And I'm learning from all of that. I want more cheese, more sauce. more broth. More cheese, more sauce, more broth. Bye, Jan. And I don't think we ever need to feel bad for hurting someone in a relationship, because I think it just comes with the terrain of being in a relationship with another person that one or both of you will end up being hurt. I think you just have to accept that as the cost of exploring a relationship with someone else. So that's my take on it. But, you know, it sucks to have to pay in such a deep way. Because some things belong to me, and I like having something belong to me and not to the whole world. I wanted to have that be something that was mine. It's hard, you know? Like, I don't know if their friends are gonna, like, watch these live streams. It's hard to navigate revealing personal details that involve another person. Maybe you've never had to negotiate this boundary. Social media makes everything hard, and having a bigger audience than, like, someone who doesn't have a following is different. It's interesting that you're very private, but you like to ask a lot of questions. Which I will not be answering the last one. Yeah, it's one thing to be sharing about first dates, but I think it's another to share about an actual ongoing relationship. And I think before that person gets established into my life as a permanent fixture, I would rather not reveal it in a public forum, because you've seen what happened when I revealed Aaron in a public forum. People made assumptions about who he was in relation to me. People made assumptions about what our relationship was like. People made assumptions and would continuously ask me 3 years after our breakup, a year after I got fired from Hearst, continue to ask me where Aaron is, why we aren't together anymore. I don't want to have to deal with that. It's tiring. It's exhausting. First dates are about experiences. Relationships are about the dynamic between two people as they try to build a life together. And I think until I know them well enough and until they are settled into my life and they've consented to being, shared in this way, then I'm not going to. Conditions have to be met. Why don't you like lentils? They do make me very farty and gassy though. That is the downside for me. Like lentils and chickpeas, my favorites, make me extremely gassy. But no worries about fart anymore. Fart away. Oh yeah, lentils do kind of taste like dirt, but you gotta flavor it. It's the same critique that people have of tofu. You just gotta flavor it. I haven't broken up with any food yet. In fact, I just bought peanut butter today after maybe almost 2 months of not buying it. I guess depression is coming. It's a telltale sign. Lentils need a lot of fat, so butter or coconut oil or olive oil, whatever you want, and spices. Just think about if you cook steak without spices and it tastes good, you still need salt. And it tastes good because it's built in with so much fat already. Lentils have like almost no fat. So you have to build in that fat yourself. And if you don't, yeah, they're gonna taste pretty nasty. You're just eating paste. Bean paste. Unflavored bean paste. I don't walk in the cold anymore to save $10, but I used to do that for videos. I mean, I feel like support for Palestine has gotten way more vocal, right, in the past couple of months. Still not enough to change the tides of our governmental decisions, though. So what does that mean for us? What does that mean for us, y'all? What's next? What is the use of having this poster up? I think I've played Risk once, maybe like 2 decades ago. Why do you ask? I actually don't think cast irons are very hard to clean. I'll show you. If you think cast irons are hard to clean, it's because you're not using enough oil or fat. It's the same thing with stainless steel pans. I'm sorry, you put your cast iron in the dishwasher? Steel wool, sometimes the occasion calls for it, but dishwasher? For real? I don't know how I feel about that. I can tolerate a lot of things, but I don't know how I feel about that. Wait, does it not rust? You gotta tell me how you're doing this. I feel like that would rust the shit out of it. So what I'm doing right now is I'm washing this pot first, and I'm letting all the water get into the cast iron pan, and I'm letting it soak just to lift off some of the hardened stuff. And then I'm going to try to just use this sponge with no additional soap to wash off the residue. My computer just ran out of battery, so I will have to read off of my phone, which means you will have to come closer because my vision is not good. I missed a comment. Let me see. Is there a vid I could watch to learn your latest updates? Nope, just all the lives. I'm not with Aaron anymore. I'm in my own place. My mom died. I got fired. I just got dumped last month. I'm wondering if I will ever find a romantic relationship in which I feel free to be myself and I don't end up hurting the other person by being myself. That's all the updates. Fred doesn't live with me anymore. Fred lives with Aaron. They're very gay and happy together. I'm happy for them. Aaron and I are still good friends. I think that's most of it. So as you see, that was a very easy scrub, and it's clean, and we're drying it on the stove, and that's that. Not hard. Not intimidating. You just gotta use enough oil. That's all. I also want to eat more cheese. We're just gonna eat more cheese, okay? Anyway, I'm gonna go now. Goodbye. Thank you for joining me. Happy weekend, and please take care of yourself. Drink more water, okay? See you next time.